Hello, and welcome to the Reef tank. This is a 75-gallon tank with a 20-gallon sump. The sump is the place where equipment is used to keep the tank looking smoother. Water flowing through the sump also increases water circulation. Water flows in from the overflow, through the equipment, and up through the return pump. Some of the equipment above or in the tank includes the lights, heaters, and circulation pump. The aquascape is made up of 85 pounds of live rock, which has been collected from the ocean to bring in a lot of new life. The purple stuff on the rock is called coralline algae and draws calcium from the water to build a skeleton. Here, we will look at significant pieces of livestock for both now and what is to come. The display tank is currently fishless, but is teeming with invertebrates. This includes both useful invertebrates such as snails, crabs, shrimp, and even a starfish or two, which help to clean up the tank. In addition to these, there are also several ornamental invertebrates. There are several colonies of zoanthids, including eagle-eye colony, a radioactive colony, and a green-brown colony. There is also one green and one red mushroom colony. Others include green star polyps, pulsing xenia, and a green toadstool. In the future, we hope to expand to LPS, or large polyp stony, and some SPS, or small polyp stony. As for fish, our oldest specimens are a Melanoris wrasse, known as Melvin, and a firefish, known as Fabio. Melvin has been with us for almost 3 years, and Fabio for 2. We also have a bonded pair of Procula clowns who have been with us since the spring. In the future, many more fish will come into the system. The process of adding them will start late December and end sometimes between June and October. First, Melvin and Fabio will go back to the main tank, although Fabio may be replaced with a pair of heel-freaky firefish. A tailspot blenny and a pink-spotted goby will come next, and then a trio of Bartlett's anthias. A collie tank comes soon after this, and then the clowns will return along with a new anemone. In this room, we have our quarantine system. New or diseased fish go into these tanks so they can be monitored or treated before going back to the main system. Each system is independently run as to not spread disease, and each is much simpler than the main system, as they only have to support fish for a limited period of time. Having 2 tanks is also helpful, so if a new fish is in one of them, the other is free to treat a diseased fish if the need comes up. Right now, all of our fish are in quarantine. A couple months ago, with the introduction of new fish, a disease, known as ick, broke out. These fish were saved as they were in quarantine before the disease broke out. These 2 fish were not so lucky. Right now, they're being treated for ick by using hyposalinity, or water with lower levels of salt. Some diseases can be treated using this, but others, such as velvet, copper is required. Hyposalinity is the preferred method, as copper will stay on the rocks so they cannot be used again. As for the period of time, 4 weeks is standard time for new fish, and 8 weeks is the standard for diseased ones. In this section, we will be tracking a drop of water throughout the week. It all starts in the faucet, but as tap water is impure, it must be purified. Here we use an RODI filter, which has 4 stages. First, a sediment filter. Next, a carbon filter. The water is now ready for the RO membrane. Here, most of the water is rejected, but some is purified and moves on to the DI filter to remove any remaining non-water particles. After the purification, the water moves into the mixing bucket where salt will be added. The water will then be put into a 5-gallon bucket to do a water change. Now, it's time to do a water change. First, we'll turn off the power from the tank to prevent the auto top-off from running. Then, using an empty 5-gallon bucket and some tubing, we'll create a siphon to start water flow. Water and detritus is easily removed using this method. Once we take out old water, we must put new water back in. Slowly adding the pitcher allows for minimal spillage. Now we're going to talk about... Once in the tank, anything can happen to the water, such as being consumed, circulated, or filtered. This will continue until the next water change will finally leave the system and new water will enter.
The biological filtration.
Now we're going to talk about the filtration of the tank. There are 3 types of filtration: chemical, mechanical, and biological. The biological filtration includes all the bacteria that live in the rock and in the water, in addition to the snails, crabs, and shrimps that consume leftover waste. The main piece of the mechanical filtration in this tank is the protein skimmer. It allows for a large surface area by creating millions of tiny bubbles. These bubbles attract waste, which rise to the top, with the waste overflowing to the collection cup. Sponges are also used to trap any large pieces of detritus that may flow into the sump. Chemical filtration includes granular ferric oxide, or GFO. This absorbs phosphates. Activated carbon absorbs any chemicals that may yellow the water. These are sometimes used in a filter sock, which are placed in the high flow areas such as the sump, where it can absorb chemicals. In addition to the filtration, we also test various chemicals in the tank. These tests include both for the well-being of the tank, such as nitrite, nitrate, phosphate, and pH, as well as those for the growth of corals, such as calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity.